Hey buddies, it's Beast. Welcome back to my channel. My name is ScottyAllenDay. I'm going to be talking today about some managerial problems. They're taking their emotions out on employees, creating probably one of the most toxic work environments at that point in time. And sometimes they create an environment so toxic it actually puts their employees in danger and in harm's way. So, I'm going to be talking about that on my YouTube channel today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. So the first one we're going to talk about happened a couple weeks ago, and there was a manager that everybody knew. It was actually a driver that everybody knew. And they've been trained as a dispatcher. And this driver comes into work, and they're insanely excited because their triplet grandkids were born. And they're getting ready to fly out in like 4 days. And this woman was so excited. So excited to go in that she nearly got into 5 accidents. And they kept trying to contain her and she got to the last day, and they said, you know what, we're not going to risk giving you an accident. We're going to put you on dispatch. Now, she did dispatch for a long time. She fills in whenever people, whenever there's no dispatchers. And our company is like that. They like to try and train extra people. And if they go down the line and then you're there for that dispatch and you want to do it, well, you get paid extra money to do dispatch. But they put her on to dispatch, and she basically garbled just about everything. She called the wrong people for breaks. She was changing our checkpoints about every 2 to 3 minutes. Our heads were spinning by the end of the shift. She was calling one person to go there, go to one lot, and she was calling another person to go to another lot, and then she was calling another person to go all the way down to the south lot that was closed, and then calling another driver to go up to the north lot to go pick some people up that never existed. And then she started calling for lost and found items that she thought people were calling for. She was just a literal mess. So we just really worked with her, but she kind of put us into a tighter position, because she took buses technically out of service to go on wild goose chases. And because she was overexcited, she couldn't think straight. She couldn't think, and work at the same time. And to me, if she is that much of a danger, getting ready to fly out the next day, to meet her triplet grandbabies for the first time. And I understand where the excitement comes from. But if she's such a danger that she shouldn't be on a bus, I would have turned around and said, you know what, I'm gonna let you do this. I'm gonna give you a sick day, and you can be able to go home and relax, so you'll be able to catch your flight tomorrow, and you can go and see your grandkids. Why don't we do a sick day so we don't, because we're really having a hard time trying to try to keep our organization running safely because you're so excited. Now, that's pretty much what I would do. Instead, they'd let her work the entire shift. But it put more drivers in danger and more drivers in harm's way, because she kept belting out orders that was actually wearing the drivers down. So, in my opinion, if a senior supervisor, which there was a senior supervisor there, saw that somebody was overexcited, should have simply just said, hey, you want to go home? But then there's another part that they can be able to do as well. Send them down into the terminals, and they can do customer service. Directing people where they need to go for the buses, making sure buses don't leave too early. That would have been their job for the night. And that would have worked 100% even better than, putting her at risk. Now, there's another one that happened about a week ago, and another dispatcher, we normally have 4 dispatchers on, and another dispatcher comes in and barreling into work, so angry that when he walked by, or them walked by, when the manager walked by, their body was so hot you could actually feel the heat emitting off their body. And one driver said, "Oh no, we're in some deep doo-doo for the night." And everybody's going like, huh? The last time this manager was incredibly upset, we all paid for it. And everybody went, nah. And I said, yeah, bring extra log paper because you're going to work tonight. Believe it or not, this person did more things that we never did during the night, and we ran our butts off. They kept switching lots. If we stayed too long at the terminals, we stayed too long at the shelter, this manager would be on the horn screaming at us to move. And we're trying to board people. And it was just such a chaotic night. By the time I was done, I was beat. I had a migraine headache, and it was really hard for me to, go home. Stay awake driving home. And the bad part about it is they had 4 supervisors on for 14 drivers. 4 supervisors for 14 drivers. On a normal day, you're supposed to have about 24, so we were really shorthanded. And the worst part about it is, they didn't take that upset driver off that dispatch, put somebody on that was competent to be able to work dispatch, and then 2 of them should have just jumped on a bus to do breaks to be able to help us out. But no, they let her run ourselves ragged. And some of the people, because we have an employee bus as well, and some of the people that were driving the employee bus were saying, "Who is that person?" And I said, "Oh, that's our dispatcher." That dispatcher is really mean. What's wrong with that dispatcher? And, we're trying to answer these questions. And again, this dispatcher, I'm using my notes, it's putting people into harm's way. And that's, it's a job that pays well. So if you tough it out, you might be able to end up with a good day the next day. And sure enough, when that dispatcher has a bad day, she'll run the drivers ragged. And the next day, that dispatcher will hide on a bus and let the dispatcher with lower seniority run the show. Because Lord knows why. Now, I've seen other managers at other companies and other businesses that I worked at that were mourning. I mean, they lost their cat, they lost their grandma, they lost their mom, and they still came to work. They didn't take the day off for self-healing. They came to work. And their performance, they just hid in the back room. If we came back for a problem or trying to come back for advice, no. They were just there to try and get their hours for the paycheck. And the employees are going, how are we going to get help? And I remember I was working on the cash register, and the cash register jammed. And nobody except for the manager had the key. And I went back and knocked on the door, and I said, the cash register jammed. We need to get the till open so that we can be able to finish the transaction. And all I heard was, go away. And then the next employee comes over and tries his till, and it works for a little while, and then all of a sudden, his jammed. And these tills that we had at this restaurant worked well, but once in a while a bill will get caught up in one of this in a slide and jam the till. And what you need to do is you need to turn a key and push a button on the side, and it'll loosen the rails so you can be able to manually pull the till out. And then fix the problem, and then you're good to go. And it happened maybe about once or twice a day. But we kept trying. And it didn't work. So, all of a sudden, we were just using the drive-through window till because that was the only thing that we had. We were down 5 tills. But once we lost the second till, we called the swing shift manager, told him what was going on, and the swing shift manager said, "Oh geez, I didn't realize what was going on." And the swing shift manager called the owner, because it was a franchise restaurant. The owner approved that swing shift manager to come down. The owner was going to help come in and fill. And swing shift manager came in. The manager came in, managed to get into the office, and the manager that was Mourning was passed out after they drank way too much. So they got her home. She wasn't fired or anything. Everybody understood what was going on. It was very, very close to her mom, and really took it the wrong way to help get her counselor and got her back. And I think even to this day, 25 years later, that woman is still working for that restaurant. Is totally, dedicated. And something like that also puts employees in danger because of the fact that a manager's not there to de-escalate situations. But that was back in the 80s, and people didn't do stuff like that. You didn't have Karens and Kevins like that. A lot of people would go and try and help, and they would try and, they were patient because fast food wasn't supposed to be lightning fast. It took a little time. And then I had another restaurant that I worked at. It was a very high-end restaurant. And I was a busboy, and I did prep cook. And because of the high capacity of the restaurant, we had high turnover for staff. And it wasn't because it was a toxic work environment, it was because it was busy. We had a turnover with cooks because cooks weren't doing their job right. And eventually we get better cooks in, and then finally we get a full staff, and then it lasts for 6 months, and then 1 or 2 people will disappear because this place was well known. And if you work there 6 months, you can get a good paying job at another place because you know how to be able to handle the kitchen. So, and the manager that was there until they canned the manager would guilt trip people. If they were short-staffed and they called you up on your day off and you're busy, you got a doctor's appointment, and they say, "Well, you only need one job." And back in the 80s, you needed about a job and a half to be able to survive. And they tried to do mandatory overtime, and they were never grateful about what you did. And until the manager actually walks in, or the manager brings a plant in, and a lot of these managers at these high-end restaurants at that time would bring in a plant employee. And this plant employee would normally be somebody that's a friend of their son's, or their nephew, or their cousin, or whatever, and they bring them in. Now, they get paid doing the whole thing, and, they're doing they're bussing the tables, they're back prep cooking, they're cleaning the floors, they're doing that, and reporting back to the owner what the manager does. And then, bam, all of a sudden, the manager's gone. So, yeah, they did plants and stuff like that to try and keep it running. Now they have cameras, they don't need to do plants, it's cheaper. So, like I said, these managers' examples are a perfect example of what a toxic work environment is, and why people don't want to work at these places. But if you have a place that you can't get your foot in the door and they still have a waiting list, that's because they treat their employees golden. So I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about it because, I was so upset about the angry manager that I actually lost sleep. And I started thinking about it last night, and I said, you know what? I'm still thinking about the incident, so why don't I just put it on a video, talk about it, and then kind of de-escalate myself so I can be able to have a better quality of sleep. And that's one of the bad things about a toxic work environment is just sleep. But when you talk about it and you walk through it and you say, you know what, everything's fine now, let it go. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. If you like the video, like and share the video with your friends. Leave me a comment about the video. Let me know what you think a toxic work environment is. Or give me a scenario about what you have for a manager. I would like to revisit this again at a later date. Drop that in the comment section below, and I'll store that for a future video. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. Until next time, keep on rocking.